We can draw two conclusions from this fight between Charles Oliveira and Ilia Topuria on June 28th. The first one is that, without a doubt, this will be one of the most exciting fights of the year. And the second conclusion is that the Brazilian is being underestimated in a shocking way. Pretty much the entire MMA world is treating Charles Oliveira's defeat as a done deal. Even his own fans have lost faith that Charles can reclaim the lightweight belt, which was once his. And as expected, this negativity has reached the Brazilian, who fired back at these people, including his own fans who are betting on his loss. Check out now exactly what Charles Oliveira said to MMA fans, the message he sent to Ilia Topuria after the Georgian disrespected him by saying that it's already certain he'll beat the former champion, and much more. But first, help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers on the channel. We're less than 100 away, we're almost there, and thank you so much for the support. First, check out the response Charles Oliveira gave to everyone who once again is doubting him. He said that he's used to dealing with this kind of fans and fighters, and that jokes about him being a quitter or a coward don't surprise him anymore. However, Charles said he prefers to respond inside the octagon using his hands.
I don't really look at the comments much, Vital. He keeps checking things, looking at a bunch of stuff and talking. He likes to, talk about things. I don't really care about what people say. Honestly, that's the truth, right? I know he's a tough guy, but we're talking about the lightweight division, the most difficult category. I fought Dusty Gate and everyone said he was the hardest hitting guy. And when I hit him, he doubled over. So I believe in the firepower I have in my hands. So let's wait and see. On the 28th, we're going to meet. Man, honestly, we've already been in there for almost 15 years, right? I've seen a lot of these guys who talked a lot, saying I'd give up, that I'd lose, that they'd knock me out, that they'd submit me. And then when it comes down to it, they don't do anything. So like I said, I respect all of them, and this is just another guy I respect. But don't think that just because he has dreams, I have dreams too, I have promises, so I'm going to chase that all the time. It's a big fight, he's a great fighter, but I don't need to prove anything to anyone who I am, what I've already done inside the cage. Tonight a huge opportunity is coming, I'm gonna knock this guy out. That's the truth.
Charles went even further with his response and said that he's not affected by any trash talk or hate against him, not only because he's been in the UFC for years, but also because he's absolutely sure that nobody, not even a fighter, will ever hit him harder than life has already hit him.
Like today, I have everything I have, but I haven't changed at all. I'm still the same person, Still the same guy who walks barefoot in the favela. Still the same guy who will eat a lunchbox meal with anyone. I haven't changed a thing. Only my life has grown and evolved. So man, how can you not get emotional when you stop and think about the past? So honestly, what these guys say on the internet, what they're gonna do or not do, none of them can ever hit me harder than life already has, Living the life I have today is magic. Like, this isn't for many, for a lot of people, It's for a few people who dedicated themselves. When I started going to Sao Paulo, I used to go by bus, chasing a dream, because I left everything here to go to Sao Paulo, to chase a dream, to become a champion, to make history, So if you stop and look back at everything I've been through, my life and story isn't a made-up story, Like those guys who say, oh, I did this or that. No, if you take everything we've talked about and you ask thousands of people, it's the same way.
It's also worth remembering that Ilia Topuria himself is already convinced of his victory. Recently, the Georgian sent a harsh message to Charles, trash-talking the Brazilian in a very aggressive way and even calling him a coward by claiming that the former champion always quits when he's under pressure. First of all, I'd like to thank Charles for accepting the challenge, something Islam didn't do, and he has to pay the price for Islam. Right now, he's the opponent in front of us. We can't take him lightly because he's been a great champion. But the truth is, I feel like I'm at my very best. Honestly, I feel really sorry for Charles because he'll suffer very much with me. I'm not none of those he has faced before, and with the previous ones, he has accumulated 10 loses. But at the end of the day, it's my job. Charles, if he finds some adversity, he's gonna go to the ground, and he's gonna sit, and he's gonna wait until the ref ends the fight. I don't know how I'm gonna win. With Oliveira, the truth is, whatever is least painful for him, that's what I'll do because I like him a lot. I'll fulfill one more dream that I always had. It was to become two-division champion, and the result will be the same as always: to emerge victorious and continue with the undefeated record. Charles Oliveira was also asked about the clash of giants between Islam Makhachev and Jack Della Maddalena. Charles made it clear that Makhachev is one of the top names today, but stated that Jack is a very solid guy who has several weapons that could neutralize the Russian. Charles also said that, in his opinion, Islam Makhachev made the right choice moving up in weight, since the Brazilian witnessed firsthand how difficult it was for the Russian to cut weight in the lightweight division.
Man, Madalena is a really tough opponent because he's a guy who doesn't come to knock you out quickly. He comes to finish you. He comes to hurt you, little by little, right? Little by little. That's what he did just now in the fight against Bilal. But I think Isa's going to do really well in this division, man. Now he's going to be much stronger. It's a style where he likes to grapple and take people down. I think if Jericho Madalena can do the same fight he did, just now against Bilal, striking, moving, getting out, hurting. It's one kind of fight, but if he lets Isa grab him and take him down, that's his game. I think Isa actually, he moved up, yes, because he really couldn't cut weight anymore. The last 2 times we had the chance to see, was it the day I fought? No, right? No, we were just working at the UFC and I saw him both times during the weight cut, in really bad shape, So I think that's really why he rambled. And honestly, I have nothing against him. I'm not after Isa, I'm after a title. If that's the title that's vacant now, then that's the title I want, of course. I believe that not now, but later on, if I have to move up a weight class and he's a champion, I'll be after the title again. So I want people to understand that I'm not after him, I'm after the title. That's what I'm.
Charles Oliveira also recalled one of the most bitter episodes of his entire career, when he lost his belt for missing weight. According to the Brazilian, it was a dirty move against him, because Charles said that both he and his entire team were absolutely sure that he had made weight, but somehow things were manipulated and his belt was taken from him. Charles even made a point of mentioning the help offered by Jean Silva, saying that Jean could perfectly mimic Ilia Topuria in a potential training partnership.
And then when I understood that things didn't happen in my time, but in God's time, I started just letting things flow. And then around the time my daughter was born, I racked up 12 straight wins and became UFC champion, right? Man, there was this huge hype. And then I ended up there was all that timing with my weight cut when they said I didn't make weight, but I really did make weight. I know I made weight. My team knows I made weight, and they took that belt away from me. And then I had the opportunity to fight with Islam for the title, and we ended up not being inside the cage. It didn't work out. And then it all started again, right? This huge momentum. We just came off a big win. We're going to become champion again and keep breaking everything. Sean Consario, it's been a long time, right? Way before he got into the UFC, he's a guy with a huge story. He deserves everything that's been happening to him. But like I said, these past few days, we're still figuring out what's going to happen, what won't happen. We took the fight with 46 days notice. It's been basically 3 days since we found out about the fight. So we're still trying to understand what exactly we're doing. We cleared out everything we had scheduled, like seminars and all that stuff, just so I could focus on training and figuring out what to do. And the team will definitely figure out the best path for us to take, but I'm really grateful for his intention, knowing that we can count on him.
Charles Oliveira is, without a doubt, one of the most talented fighters to ever step foot in the UFC. However, it seems that even with this unique talent and his elite performances, that's still not enough. Not even for his own fans. And the worst part is, Charles isn't just some random fighter for people to be doubting him the way they are. Charles Oliveira is simply the greatest submission artist in the history of the organization and holds the record for the most bonuses in UFC history. These records are not easy to achieve, but apparently none of that seems to matter to MMA fans. One thing is for sure, a fighter of Charles Oliveira's caliber should never be underestimated. MMA is an unpredictable sport, and anything can happen in a fight. But what about you, viewer? Do you believe that Charles Oliveira will shock the world and defeat Ilia Topuria, who is currently considered one of the most dangerous fighters out there? And in your opinion, do you think it's disrespectful what the MMA community is doing to Charles, doubting the Brazilian and treating him like he's already lost? Drop your opinion in the comments. Who do you think wins this fight? If you're really into MMA and enjoy staying up to date with everything happening in the fight world, you definitely should check out these 2 other videos that are popping up on the screen right now. Both are super important, and I'm absolutely sure you'll enjoy them and stay well informed about the latest MMA news. If you liked this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button to help the content grow. See you next time.